Hello and welcome to the second part of creating your very own customized title bar. If you haven't seen part 1, then I recommend you do so, as I'll be ploughing straight on ahead from where we left off. And where we left off from last time was that we had managed to get rid of the old title bar and we had successfully created a new title bar with a close button, a minimize button and a title. And the main part of what we need to do in this tutorial is to be able to maximize the screen once we have minimized it. And there are two different ways of doing this. And then also I want to show you some extra functions which you are more than welcome to add if you want to. But you can also leave them out if you really don't want to include them. Let's get started. So we need to maximize our window once it's been iconified. And remember, once it had gone to the taskbar, we had to put the old title bar back into it, otherwise this iconify and the minimize function wouldn't work. So what we need to do now in this event is to make sure that we get rid of the old title bar, otherwise we'll have two minimize buttons, two titles and two closes, which will not look right at all. And how we do that is we can bind the title bar by using title_bar, calling the title bar dot bind, and then in brackets we type in map in square angled brackets and in quotation marks, comma screen appear. Now this screen appear will be a function that we're going to create. So what we're doing here is we are mapping an event with the keys or the actions or the mouse to the screen appear function. So what we need to do now is create this screen appear function. And how we do that is if you go above where we created everything, if we type in screen_appear, copying the name, and then in brackets we type in event, and then we use colons, and we have to put event in there because we're linking this to an event. This whole thing is an event binding. And then in the colon, in the function, we type in window.override redirect 1. And what will happen here is that once we've minimized it, and in order to be able to do so, we've had to put the old title bar back in. When an event map has happened, this map is just another word for any event has happened, then the screen will appear and the old title bar will disappear, putting us back to where we left off before we minimized it. Another way of making sure the window appears again is to use a function called de-iconify, and I've just linked a different event and I've created a different function just to show you how de-iconify can work as well. So if we do titlebar.bind again, and let's say we use button 3, which is right click, and then comma show screen. So if we go up to our show screen, we create another function. Again, creating our function with the event in the brackets, underscore, and then here we can just simply put window.deiconify, and then below that, remember we still need to get rid of the old title bar, put window.override redirect 1. And that'll do the same as the screen appear event here. Now, the final thing I will show you is being able to create a click event whereby you'll get the location of your mouse when you click in the window, and in this case it will snap to the top left of the window when you drag that window across the screen. So what we're going to do is create yet another binding. In this case we're going to type in b1-motion, which is another way of saying our left click. So when we left click, this function will happen. In this case, it is callback. So now we need to create our callback function. So if you go above to where the other functions are, we create def space callback. And because this is an event, we put event in the brackets and then colon. And below that, we type in window.geometry. And then in the geometry brackets, we type in plus and then 0 in curly brackets plus 1 in curly brackets. And what this does, it gets the position of the mouse. And now we need to format that position so that it snaps to the top left of the window when we're dragging it across the screen. And we do that by typing in dot format, and then in the format brackets we type in event x underscore root, that is getting the x position of the mouse, and event dot y underscore root, that gets the y position of the mouse. And the underscore root snaps the mouse positions in the x and y directions to the top left corner of the window. So after doing that, that is everything put together, and now we can finally see what we have. So if we run the code, here we can see that we have our customized title bar here. We have our title, we have our buttons on the right, and let's go through it. Let's start with the X. Notice we press down without releasing, it goes white, exactly as we mentioned and specified in the highlight background equals white when we created our buttons. So if we let go, it will disappear and exit the program. So if we run it again, we'll get our title bar again. And notice the minimize, when we minimize it, to see briefly there for a split second that the old title bar came back, and then it went down into the taskbar here. And then if we then open it again, click it from the taskbar, the outside title bar will disappear. And what we can also do now is if we move this across, notice that the mouse starts here and it snaps across to the top left. Look at that. So a bit jolty, a bit joggy, but you do see it there. So I hope you've enjoyed that tutorial. Please do subscribe to my channel if you liked it, and please share and comment and interact. I really want to create like a good community here on this channel. Thanks very much for watching.